as soon as Jimmy missed that jump shot to send us to the NBA Finals, my mind completely went into offseason mode because I realized just how crucial that this offseason is going to be for this Miami Heat team. Because right now, with Jimmy being 32 years old, we're not going to get a ton more productive years close to this one, especially in the postseason, like this one much longer. We may have another year of production from Kyle Lowry. PJ Tucker's 36 years old. There's only so much more bang and buck and hustle his body can handle. So as of right now, the Miami Heat, if this season was definitely a win or bust season, and next season, if we don't make the right moves, or if we do make the right moves to become a championship candidate again, we need to win, or it's going to be a bust again. Because as of right now with this Miami Heat team, even though they seem like they have a solid future, if Jimmy Butler starts producing less and we don't get the same production from him again in the postseason, I can guarantee you that this team probably won't make it that far. And right now, we need not only Bam to finally take that step in becoming a true superstar in this league, but we either need to make moves with some of the other players on this team or hope that their development goes to the places that we need them to be. So let's talk about why I think this offseason is very crucial for the Miami Heat and their future. So going through this past season, the Miami Heat had a lot of optimism and they cemented themselves as championship contenders with the moves they made in the offseason. They paid Jimmy Butler and gave him an extension, showing that we're committed to him as our best player or one of the best players on this team to win a championship around. Bam Adebayo seemed to understand what he needs to work on. There's a lot of hope coming into this season of what he could be. We got a guy like Kyle Lowry that was perfect for this team in being a floor general and taking away some of the playmaking responsibilities from Jimmy and Bam so they can focus on being two-way players. Tyler took that leap as a scorer and showed that he definitely has a lot more room to grow and can get a lot better throughout the rest of his career. And even without Jimmy sometimes in the lineup or Bam for extended period of times or Kyle, this team was able to survive and a lot of our role players stepped up and got a lot better and kept us alive even when we missed a lot of people in this lineup and we were able to be the first seed in the Eastern Conference. And as with the first seed, we had one of the easier brackets and were able to make the conference finals with relative ease. We had a little bit of pushback from the 76ers, but it wasn't anything crazy. And as we met the Boston Celtics, while I understand that we had a lot of injuries, we were also overmatched in certain ways because every single game it was go back and forth between who was dominating, but majority of the times it was the Boston Celtics. And with Jimmy missing that shot to send us to the NBA Finals, this offseason definitely became crucial for this team because there's a lot of holes here. Kyle Lowry seems to be on the tail end of his career. As of right now, we don't know where Bam's aggressiveness is and how well he may develop as a scorer. I know Pat said him and Sport are going to work on ways to Bam get 15 shots per game. We don't know truly if Bam has it in him to become that true scorer. We already know that he's an amazing two-way player and probably the best defender in the NBA. So he's definitely worth all the money he's getting and he's definitely one of the best players on this team. Again, Tyler Herro went into this playoffs with a lot to prove. And while he did have some performances that really opened your eyes and like, yeah, he's part of the future of this team, it really didn't look the way you wanted it overall. And there's a couple of injuries that hampered him, especially in the Celtics series. And he really just wasn't able to produce to what you'd hope to get from your sixth man of the year that averaged 20 points a game in the regular season. So with all that taken into account, as of right now, the Miami Heat have a lot of things that they need to fix going into next season to even be considered championship contenders again. Because with teams coming back like the LA Clippers, with Zion coming back on the Pelicans, who already were one of the better teams in the second half of the season with a move for getting CJ McCollum, with a lot of teams already making moves to get better throughout the season, the Miami Heat can't just sit in limbo because they will go from the first seed all the way down to the sixth seed with that blink of an eye if we don't make some moves to make this team a lot better. And that we have the assets to really do make this team better, but it all depends on how free agency goes. So today, we're going to talk about some of the moves this Miami Heat team can make to get better in this offseason. Going into this offseason, the Miami Heat are focused on probably two different things, and they either will get both, or if they get a great offer for either side of the things, they'll probably go in that direction alone. One is they need a big next to Bam, and I understand that Bam is one of the best centers and he plays the position very well, but this doesn't take a rocket scientist to see how Bam handles the ball sometimes, the way his offense is set up, not only as a playmaker, but finisher on the rim, that Bam is and should be a 4. I understand that he doesn't shoot threes, but not every 4 in this league has to shoot threes. And if anything, with the way the NBA is right now, you can find a 5 that shoot threes and Bam still has the space to work in the paint. But Bam's best abilities come with him being a playmaker, a defender, and searching out mismatches to score that way. And as a center, he really doesn't get those opportunities since he's either at the top being a screen merc with Max Strus and Duncan, or Tyler being screen merchants off of him, or he has to focus on getting back to the paint to be the main rebounder for this team. And that's simply just not going to cut it next season. We need a big next to Bam that really gives him the freedom to play the way that he needs to play for this team to be that successful. I really do think Bam can be the second offensive star on this team, not only if he develops his mid-range jumper a little bit more, but if he has the ability to focus on being a scorer instead of focusing on other responsibilities like rebounding, like having to set 50 different screens on one possession for Duncan or Max Strus or Tyler to get open. This is just like Pat Riley said, Duncan, Tyler, Max Strus to give them half their paychecks because half their open shots simply come from him and him alone. And you spend maybe 10 to 15 seconds in one possession spamming screens to just get these guys open. It's just not a good offense to run, especially with how volatile our shooters can be. And they could either be the best shooters in the NBA at one point to literally being all garbage with the way we saw how they shot in the playoffs. So yes, I do think a big next to Bam is the way to go. And right now, there's a lot of good shooting bigs that are out there in the market. As of right now, Miles Turner's name is back in the market, even after Indy says that he's part of the future. Now he's back in trade talks again, and we do have the assets to probably make that happen. And I know a lot of Heat fans want to see Yurtseven move up in that position to be that center, but I do think Yurt, even though he's 24, needs a little bit more time to develop. And I think him taking the backup center role away from Dedmon and getting those minutes is the best way for him to develop. And to get a big like a Mo Bamba that's already showing shooting touch, has amazing length, and can give us some decent rim protection, even though he's not much of a defender outside of being a rim protector. But he's been developed some nice shooting touch. He's a great rim protector. And right now, I think he'd probably be the best option to get there. Right now, I think we'd have to give up some assets to get Miles Turner. So right now, I do think that we need to look at those two guys as the options for a big next to Bam, especially a big that can shoot so that we're not too caught in the paint, and Jimmy also has room to work. And then the other route that Miami Heat can go is the superstar route. As of right now, there's a lot of superstars that seemed a little bit disgruntled and they're having their way here and there in trade talks. I know a lot of Miami Heat fans are happy to hear about Donovan Mitchell and stuff like that. But I'm here to tell you that if the Utah Jazz are trading anybody, it's probably going to be Rudy Gobert, and they're not trading Donovan Mitchell after that unless they get a gigantic offer, and that's something we simply can't give them. I understand that you think Tyler's great, and I think Tyler's great, but I think there's a lot more teams that can give them an insane offer for Donovan Mitchell that we can't. And I think the next best player that you can probably ask for is a Bradley Beal. And while I understand that Beal's half-court scoring would be an amazing boost for this team, he's also a pretty good playmaker, and he's not a chair on the defensive end. So his ability to not only score, defend competently, and pass the ball and play make for other guys would be great for this team. It's still a long shot because, again, Washington doesn't seem like they're going to budge on trading him, even though they really should. But I just do know that with Pat Riley, if there's a star that becomes available that fits with this Miami Heat culture, fits within this team, and can give us the boost to become contenders again, if not favorites, he will pull that trigger and Tyler will be going. And then that's another thing I'd like to talk about, and that is Tyler Herro's development. As of right now, we could come back next season with a big next to Bam being the only thing we do get, or another player next to Bam, and we may retain Tyler and see how he develops and he moves into the starting lineup. And if he does become a better scorer and a two-way player, good. We have a guy that we can develop next to Bam that's really young, and that can be our future. But I just don't see that happening. Pat Riley's very much seems to be shopping Tyler to find the best ways to get another superstar here. And Tyler's just the only real great young asset that we have on this team that we can use in trade talk outside of Bam. And there's no way in hell that we're trading Bam unless it's for somebody like freaking Joel Embiid. But yeah, Tyler's development is very crucial right now. If we don't make trades in the offseason, as of right now, Tyler's development next year and seeing how good he gets could be the piece that we use to get the player that we need to be better and become contenders at the trade deadline or before then. It just all depends on what this team looks like, how we're playing in the first half of the season, if it's worth blowing up this team and trading Tyler at all, or if Tyler does get good enough that we can move him. Overall, those are really the only avenues I see right now for the Miami Heat to make some changes to this team to come back as championship contenders again. We got very close to winning it this year, and I think this was our window to win it with this core specifically, and we do need to make some changes to this team to be able to win it again anytime in the future. As of right now, there's a lot of people coming back healthy. I can definitely expect Ben Simmons coming back on the Nets. I know a lot of people don't see them as anything crazy, and a lot of people seem to be downplaying Ben Simmons like he wasn't an all-NBA player, all-NBA defender, and he's on a team where he doesn't even have that much offensive responsibility anymore. That team is going to be scary. I can definitely expect teams like the Atlanta Hawks to be making a lot of moves this offseason to get a big or a player next to Trae Young, so you can look for the Hawks to be another team in the name of being in the upper echelons of the East. Maybe not fully contenders, but they're definitely teams that can take Miami's place if we're not careful and we don't make the moves to make this team better. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you think the Miami Heat should be looking to trade some of these guys to get the superstar do we need, or do you think we just need to make some tweaks to really give this team that boost that it does need, and we just have the core that we need to win a championship? I'm on the fence. I'm not really on either side as of right now. But with that being said, this is Alpha B. That's my time, and I'm out. If you're still here after this though, here are 2 videos that I think you'll definitely like. One is me talking about how the Miami Heat went from basically no man's land when LeBron left to being championship contenders in just a matter of 5 years. And here's a video of me talking about why the NBA media sucks and that they are downplaying Nikola Jokic even after he won 2 MVPs. That being said, this is FLB. Again, that's my time, and I'm out.